Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. The purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. Today, we are discussing a 100-piece limited edition launched in the 2020 model year. This is the H. Moser Cie Venturer XL Small Second Concept Arctic Blue, a new Fume fade from Moser. The timepiece is 43 millimeters in, truth be told, red gold. It is very dark and intense, 12.8 millimeters thick by 48.9 millimeters lug-to-lug, with a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. This is the Venturer SL case, which has a handsome sort of aspect ratio about it, though it is remarkably domed about the sapphire. It also has a broad planted stance on the wrist. It spreads itself out broadly and quite pleasingly, as you can see. It's not a huge watch across the wrist. Even though it's a 43, being under 49 millimeters from lug to lug means it wears well on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. You can also see that although it's not super thick or super thin at 12.8 millimeters, it's the slope of the crystal that's really going to have the influence on how it fits underneath the cuff, and in that regard, it will tuck in nicely. The timepiece has a nice weight to it, a handsome span, an excellent tone to match just about any skin tone, and a wonderful dial that explodes out of the case. More on that in a moment, but let's talk about the Kudu strap. It's rustic, it's minimally tanned, and as you can see, it features a lot of the original imperfections of the animal hide. It's not over-processed, it has a handsome raw look to it, but make no mistake, calfskin on the bottom. This is a brand new Moser factory strap in perfect condition. There's a matching rose gold pin buckle with some handsome polished facets and satination, and then the case itself, likewise, featuring polish and satin. But Moser case construction is special. They machine their cases and then they hand finish, which is how you're able to get these sculpted contours that have a sort of deep convex dive into the case profile. When you're stamping your cases, as most manufacturers do, you don't get quite this level of detail or depth, especially in a profile. Now you can see there's vertical satin finish at the mid case to contrast with the black polish of the lug hollows, and then you have a polished domed bezel and a dial that frankly doesn't feature a whole lot of detail. Moser has a couple of different dials. Of course, they have their many famous colors: funky blue, midnight blue, cosmic green, burgundy, and they have their Fume fades, the fade from bright at the center to dark at the edge. They also have their purity dial, which is minimalist with indices only, and then they have the concept dial, which is what you see here, which is the most elemental. Hands only. No signature, not Swiss made, not the manufacturer, no indices, and only the aperture for the countersunk small seconds with the azurage or concentric pattern at the center. Hands are all polished rose gold. Contrast is excellent. This is a much brighter blue than the funky blue. At its center, it's almost electric, very similar to a Rolex Milgauss Z blue, and then it fades to a nice glossy cobalt at its edge. Rolling the case over, you can see the manufacturer caliber HMC 327. Nicely decorated. You can see it is designed to evoke the 19th century Moser pocket watches, and that was a time of prolific production and prosperity, with a lot of the production going to Russia and even China. What you see right here today is dedicated to recreating some of that look. The bridges are not 3/4. As you can see, the bridge is split, but it's designed to look like a pocket watch 3/4 bridge. You can also see that it is a handsome and rustic 18,000 vibration per hour beat rate, a little bit more like a pocket watch than a wristwatch, so 2.5 hertz. There's an overcoil hairspring made by hand, and Moser makes the escapement, the balance, and the hairspring, and all of this allows the watch, via the hairspring concentric beating, to keep outstanding time in any position. That's what you get from the overcoil hairspring, because its mass is centered. Then, of course, with a full balance bridge and a free spring index, you get shock tolerance. It is not an overly thin movement, so it's not delicate the way, say, a Piaget is. The full balance bridge and the free spring index, those are Rolex-like features. There is a case-back power reserve indicator, so the dial remains clean, but technically this watch is a complication, and it is a manual wind 72-hour or 3-day power reserve. The specific styling features, in addition to the 3/4 style, include a lovely set of double-crested Côte de Genève. These are distinctive of Moser. You can see how there's that double crest in between the waves. And then there is a machined but very handsomely cut bevel on the edge of the bridges, with satination across the balance bridge, media blasting under the power reserve, as well as on the base plate, with all screw heads black polished and wheels satinated. 30 meters water resistant, so it's more of a sporty watch than a sports watch. I should also mention that even though the timepiece is relatively basic, It does include a hacking or stop seconds function so that you can set it precisely against a reference time. Reach out to tmosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.